Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't think this will take a half hour. But that way it gives us a little time in between now and our regularly scheduled city council meeting. So this is a workshop that I requested so that mostly just so we can discuss, kind of bring everybody up to speed so we're all on the same page in regards to the potential move to the TVCC building. That would be for actually 3 different locations. So yeah, we'll just jump right into it. So I was just going to kind of talk and present, and if we have questions, we can kind of go over that, some of the info that I have here. So currently, city offices are the main offices. So this wouldn't include like the water department, the street department, police department, fire, all of those. But our main offices are currently in 3 different locations. So we have 411, as I'm sure you're aware of, City Hall. Then we also have 621 Cleveland, where engineering, building services, and planning and zoning is at. And then we have recently had to move our economic development team out to the airport just because we don't have any room at City Hall. And also, if you remember, the conference room we used to have at City Hall is now 3 offices also. So literally just busting at the seams on that. So we've been working, as I believe you all are aware, with Treasure Valley Community College on, trying to find a solution that could be amenable to all parties. And just to kind of give some background and history there, so that I can pass that down. Thank you. Yep. So they really hold all the cards, to be honest, in this. So they have a current lease that goes through December 31st of 2029, if I'm not mistaken. And so technically they could just say, you know what, city, take a hike. We're going to stay here and use this on that. But they have been great to work with, and they would love to stay there. But I've met with Senator Lee several different times. So she's the vice president over there at the college. And she's been great. She realizes it and said, she's like, you know what, this isn't our building. It really isn't your building. This is the people's building. The city of Caldwell does own it, but obviously the taxpayers pay for that. And so she said, even though we'd love to stay there, we want the best use for the public out of this building. And we both agreed that this is what that would be. And so we looked at different scenarios for them regarding different locations, whether the current City Hall or even 621 Cleveland. There's a terminal building out at the airport that's hopefully going up for sale, and none of those really worked or met their satisfaction. And so they had come to us with kind of a final say of, or proposal of them moving to the 3rd floor and then us occupying floors number 1 and number 2 on that. So that would give us the room that we currently need to get all 3 into the same building. Moving not City Hall, so the City Council chambers right here would move over to that location as well, provide an area for the City Council to have kind of their own little area with your own cubicles with a private office next door so you can meet with constituents privately if you needed to. So it just provides for a lot of those options. And so that was amenable, said, okay, that we get it, we can help you with that. And so we have started kind of getting with their attorneys, looking at that lease, what can we do to rearrange that, redo it, however that would be. Bridges is no longer there. Their last day was a week ago, this last Friday. So there's no issues on that with that tenant being in there since they have vacated that. And my understanding is that had nothing to do with any of these changes. They just were kind of struggling and had those issues, so they were vacating regardless on that. So one, obviously, if you have any questions on that, and then also some direction from council, because ultimately, the say will come down to all of you because it's going to take money, and so budget obviously has to come to you for that approval. So we'll be bringing that forward for your approval in the next little while. But we're hoping for, I think in talking with you, this is the direction we want to go. If not, let us know, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're headed. And then direction in regards to, as we work through that lease agreement with TVCC, a couple different options. As I mentioned, their lease does go through 2029, end of December 31st, 2029. So trying to go to them with 2 different proposals. One is, do we just reset the lease from this point forward so that a new 10 years would start here to the end? They've kind of indicated that they kind of would like to go that route. But another option I thought that we could float to them, and this would obviously require all of your approval, is that right now they pay $200,000 a year in rent on that building. Obviously, if they're only using a third of it, that's going to cut by at least 2/3. I would imagine maybe even a little bit more, depending on how that negotiation went, which would take it down to, I'm guessing, anywhere between $50,000 and $67,000 a year for rent from them. So the other option I thought that we could give to them is, do we just not charge rent and continue with the 10 years we have now, so it still would end 6 years from now rather than 10 years from now? And then we could move into that third floor and start, occupying it, because we're going to continue to grow as a city, as employees. So thought that might be an incentive to give to them, to maybe continue with the current term. But again, that's really kind of I want your advice and how you would like to go about that. If you feel that's just a waste, or if you feel, no, that's good, let's try to, sweeten it a little bit to get them out of there as soon as possible. So that's kind of where we're at. So did I miss anything on any of that, Brent? So timeline, maybe just a little bit, could be actually fairly quick. So they have a break in March, a couple-week break that we might be able to go in and transition them to the third floor, because it's going to be kind of a step process, right? So we could go in and transition them up to the third floor, and then go in after that and work on the first and second floor for the remodel that we'd have on that, and be ready by sometime probably midsummer, I would imagine. Does that sound about right, Mr. Orton? Oh.
Mayor, I think that's certainly possible, and I would guess that probably end of summer would my guess.
Yeah, very good. I know Councillor McGee, I think you were able to meet with Debbie and Adam to kind of just a preliminary look at what a city council chambers would look like.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It was very preliminary. Debbie and I met with the architect. I had just a very simple request when it came to the shape of the podium, so it's easier for us to see each other and communicate with each other. It was a good conversation. I need to be probably better informed about what's in mind for the rest of the building, because we really did focus on that city council chamber. But it was a good meeting, and I appreciated Debbie being there.
Thank you so much. So, any questions, or again, questions obviously, and then thoughts too, as far as which direction you'd rather go in regards to as we rework that lease with them. Councilor Doty?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. So, of course, we're going to need to see, and sounds like our finance person is finally at work. Is that correct?
Yes, she showed up today. I was so excited to see her. I don't think I was as excited as Rochelle, but I'm very excited to see her.
North, so that's great. So, of course, we need to see, I'm guessing those expenses weren't in this current budget year, so to see what that general fund, so to speak, holds, and to make sure that we can afford it and it's reasonable, and, just being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, so.
Very good. Yeah, Councilor Stoddard?
Mayor, you and I discussed this briefly already, but I would like us, if we could, make sure that the sale of the buildings that we do have kind of dovetail off of when we get in there too, so we've got the money, to use for the sale of these buildings to transfer over there too. That'd make it a lot easier, and I think more palatable for the taxpayers too.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we had talked about that obviously moving into that location, the thought is, because there's a fire training room right now actually in the TVCC building, but where we're not going on the third floor, that would be good for office space. So I've talked with Chief Frawley. I know I saw him walk in earlier. There he is. About moving the fire training and the administration office for the fire department into the current 621 Cleveland building, where they can occupy that, so that way gives us more space in the TVCC, and that free ups the entire half block where City Hall is currently at, so that we could be able to sell that to pay for, and with the way prices are, and Mr. Jenkins would know better than me on that, but should be more than whatever the cost was going to be to remodel that. Would be, I'd imagine, at least $500,000, maybe even more than that, in the positive in regards to selling those properties and using that for the funds to do that.
So, Mr. Mayor, the impression is that TVCC still wants a long-term presence downtown?
That's my understanding. I haven't talked to Senator Lee for a few months, but the last time I had talked to her about that, they do like being downtown. They don't have very many people. If you go down there, the classes are pretty I hate to say it, but pretty empty. Now, a lot of people are online, whether it's at home or even in Ontario. So if you do go in during a class time, there's, 2 or 3 kids in the class, they have the TV up, and usually actually the professor a lot of times is even in Ontario or wherever it may be and doing that. But they seem to still want a presence in the downtown somewhere.
Yeah, and then, when the building was built, the intent was, we were instructed by people in the know that an educational facility downtown was important to us. And I believe that's probably still the case, even though, like you said, it has, with the job market the way it is, not near as many people are interested in going to school. But yeah, I am definitely not against the process. I just wanna, it's a priority to me that we treat TVCC right. We make sure, cause we do have a contract with them, and if they can make use of the 3rd floor and it will fit their needs, then I would like to see them remain downtown. I think it's still important.
Yeah, I was, like I said, last time I met with Senator Lee, there have been a lot of rumors swirling, that about her, like, feeling bullied from the city and some feelings hurt, so I met with her and she put those to rest, saying no, that, feel that they've been heard and understood, and we've been working really good together, so I appreciated her on that, so clarifying that. Other thoughts, comments? Councilor Williams?
Mr. Mayor, 2 questions probably. Do we have an estimate of what this is going to cost? We keep saying we're gonna need money, but do we have any idea how much it's gonna cost to do this? And then the second question is, how much have we already spent? Cause I know we're into it tens of thousands of dollars already. Do we know how much we've already invested in this move?
So as far as the total cost, I would just be spitballing, so I'd hate to even throw a number out there. I don't know if Brent, it's gonna be somewhere between, I would guess, 1.5 to $2 million. Does that sound way off or crazy, or?
This is like the worst time on record to try to estimate something like that, but yeah, I think you're in the right area, Mayor. And, as we put together the proposal that we pitched to the Urban Renewal Agency, that was based on what they can legally do to assist with that effort, and that's $1 million max. And so, we kind of based the design contract and things around that, which I think, Cushing Terrell was the only respondent to that request for qualifications, and they felt like they could accomplish the design effort based on that scale. And the reason that's relevant to the total cost is usually your design is, you kind of gut check your design cost as a percentage of total cost, like 6% the minimum you ever see, and 12 or 14% is pushing towards the outside of what you'd want to see. So.
Very good. And maybe that second part to that question in regards to money already spent, and was that through Urban Renewal, or was that through the city for the kind of the preliminary work that's going on?
I don't remember, Mayor, I'm
I think
sorry.
for some reason it went to Urban Renewal just for, did it on that, so. yeah,
Yes,
Councilor Doty.
I think the Urban Renewal did approve like 35,000 only for the preliminary drawings or something like that,
Was
or.
that much previous, or how long ago was that?
That was
Wasn't-
like October.
I was gonna say, yeah, that wasn't last week. That
Yeah,
was-
no.
Yeah,
No, the 1 million didn't get approved,
right.
but the preliminary drawings, so to speak.
And
did,
Rochelle is
so.
giving the reassuring head nods, I think that.
Good. Does that answer?
Yeah,
your
thank
question?
you.
Okay.
Just, Mr. Mayor, if
Yes,
I
Councilor
can,
McGee.
just follow up, Brent, don't go too far. So I think the number that we're landing on here right now is $1.5 to $2 million. Now, does that include design and the move? I mean, is that a total bill for moving these city offices over into that building?
I think it could end up being a total bill, yeah. There's gonna have to be some new furnishings, because it's actually, we're moving into a net smaller space. And so, the idea is that you would do more efficient space utilization. And the architect's really sharp at that. In fact, if you stop by Cushing Terrell's office and see how they're utilizing their space, it's a good example of the kind of thing we'll need to do to be able to fit well there, but it's still a very pleasing office environment, and it actually means more natural light comes to everybody. And but yeah, so what our understanding, to be short, is that, yeah, I think that would include everything.
Yeah, I guess, Mr. Mayor, and, I don't have any problem with moving these offices over there. This has the potential, however, and I think you know, because you've been around for a while, to be kind of a a high-profile move into a different building for the city. And so what I would hate to have happen is the city council approves this, and then when we get stuck with the final bill, we thought it was gonna be $2 million, and when in reality, it's $3.5 million. And so I would just, again, I'm not opposed to this, but because this is going to be a very high profile in nature and very public in nature, I just, really wanna make sure that we're as close to that estimate as we can be. Understanding the current economics, we just talked about this the other night with the tunnel underneath, the highway and the difference in the cost, and we know we're in a very interesting and flexible time there, but, I just wanna remind everybody, this is gonna be a very high-profile move, and we're gonna wanna get as close to that number as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
do you mind me
No, go
answering
ahead.
that question? So, or the comment. So with the culvert, right, if we can rely on recent estimates or recent bid numbers, that helps us a lot. There's a lot of variety here, and it's not gonna be similar to another project. So what'll happen is, as we get the design completed for what the remodel would need to look like, that's because they're having to consider space utilization at the same time, they could also estimate for us what's the furnishing element of it gonna cost. So once we get through design, those guys are gonna be able to rely on recent experience with construction and material costs that will help inform it. And then you really get the real taste for what the cost is gonna be when you either put it out to bid or get or if you engage a construction manager, general contractor, when they give you the guaranteed maximum price, that's when you have it nailed down. So, but it's gonna get better as you go along. First, you gotta get the design done, and then you'd really be able to lock those numbers in and have a good feel.
I appreciate that, Brent. Thank you for adding that. I was involved when we moved from the Capitol to the Ada County Courthouse and then back to the Capitol, and that was a very expensive move. Now, obviously, we're not doing that on this scale, but this city councilman would just say to staff and to the powers that be that $2 million, if that's the number that we're, 1.5 to $2 million, if that's the number we're talking about, we need to get really close to that. Even if that makes some tough decisions moving in there, maybe not getting everything we want or every, all the amenities, all the sunshine, that we want. This is again, this is a big deal, and this is gonna be watched by the public, and I think we need to make sure that we do it right.
Yeah.
And I would just say, your staff has been very good about, everyone recognizes there's gonna be some sacrifice, because it is a smaller space. Fewer people will have offices. There's some sacrifice, and the staff the whole, employee team has been really great about recognizing those things and being considerate in the process, so.
Yeah, Counselor Williams?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Your point is well taken, Counselor, especially, the timing of this is challenging when the price of eggs. Did you see that in the news? And people can't even afford eggs. Add to that, complications for us that I think we're gonna have to face, like, county just did a major readjustment of salaries for, all of Sheriff Donahue's staff, and we're gonna be asked those questions by our employees, and we're gonna spend $2 million on what they might call a Taj Mahal for us, when we're telling them they can't afford eggs and we're not giving them the raises that maybe we could. I don't know, but I think we need to be careful about the timing of the expense as well.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was on the Walmart app the day before that came out, and I said to my wife, I go, you will not believe how much a dozen eggs cost. I was like, $15 for 36 eggs. I'm like, that is insane. I should have gone into the egg market. So maybe real quick too, what about direction as far as timeline? So it sounds like kind of maybe wanting to keep them in the downtown, but I think they could still go to the downtown even after, if we do say want to try to entice them to be out in 6 or 7 years, or would you rather it just reset? What's some kind of thoughts there, guidance?
Well, Mr. Orton said something I was unaware of, in that we're moving to less square footage than we actually possess now. I thought we were expanding. Based on that information, I believe with TVCC's cooperation, we should plan on occupying that third floor sooner than later. I didn't realize we were moving into a smaller space, but based on that information, the way we're growing, I can't imagine that we could stay there for another 10 years without growing past that.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of head nods that looked like, obviously that's not a final decision, but gives direction as we go forward.
Yeah, and I just to echo what City Councilman Allgood's talking about, and maybe this would require some comment from the city attorney, but something, of course, is gonna have to be memorialized, I think, once this lease changes. And I know that you had a conversation with Senator Lee, and I respect that, and I know her a little bit. I wanna make sure that we're all on the same page, so that there's not bad blood or potential legal issue, or, it sounds like it's kind of soothed over, Mr. Mayor, but that's one of those things that has the potential to come back and get us, so we'll wanna I would think we wanna make sure that we get that lawyered up pretty well, so.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, very good. Well, I appreciate, the input, and it's good to get everybody on the same page, so it's a good way to do it. So that ends this, workshop, and so we'll stand adjourned until the hour of 6 o'clock.
You better pass it around, because if you leave that there, I'm gonna be eating.
Yes, so yes, there's peanut butter, Butterfinger, white chocolate, chocolate fudge. Help yourself.
We're not taking that.
Welcome to our city council meeting this evening. The hour of 6 o'clock is upon us, and so we did have a workshop prior to this meeting, discussing the move of city offices into the Treasure Valley Community College buildings. We worked with TVCC on that. We appreciate their willingness on that to improve efficiencies at the city in regards to the residents, and also our employees. So we're looking forward to continuing moving in that direction. No official decisions were made, just discussion, and direction given from council, and appreciate that. We will begin this meeting, with an invocation offered by Pastor Richard Bork of Bible Methodist Church, after which we will have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So if you please stand for both of those.
Father God, we're here for our first council meeting of the year in the city of Caldwell, and we want to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for your many blessings on us and answers to prayer in 2022. We read repeatedly in the book of Revelation where God the Father and Son are stated to be the Alpha and Omega. We realize these words are the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet, and so what we're being told is that you are everything to us, from A to Z. In John 1, we read that in the beginning the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and His life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. In Jeremiah 31, you said, I will put my instructions deep within them, and I will write them on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. In Hebrews 12, we are told to be looking to Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. All of this evening assures us that you, O Lord, are writing our story. It's a beautiful and grand story. There will no doubt be some hard chapters in the middle, but we have a glimpse of what is to come. And with the entire alphabet at your command, you can write what you will, and our author, who loves us, will use every letter with careful purpose. We can rest at ease as we look forward in 2023 with confidence to the Alpha and Omega and the everything between. I ask now, Lord, for peace in our community, for a reduction of crime, of substance abuse and brokenness, for the redemption and lifting up of our people. Let there be a rebuilding of our family units and a pulling together for everything good. Help us to help one another and to be a caring community. I pray for our police, our fire and EMS, that you would protect them and guide them. Please assure them of our love and our support, both now and always. We ask now for your blessing on our city leaders here as they plan and they make the needed decisions, that with your guidance, they will make the right choices for us all. We ask these things humbly and sincerely in the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much for that. Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Aldred,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Doty,
Here.
Scotty,
Here.
McGee.
Very good, thank you so much. So we do have 5 council members present and 1 absent this evening. Are there any conflict of interest declarations from any of the council members regarding an item on the agenda this evening? And we do have 1 special presentation. This is a proclamation in regards to National Human Trafficking Day. So I will read this proclamation. So National Human Trafficking Day Proclamation. Whereas the inherent dignity, freedom, and autonomy of every person deserves to be respected and protected, and whereas human trafficking is often a hidden crime that knows no boundaries, with as many as 24.9 million people, adults and children, are trapped in forms of modern slavery around the world, including in the United States, and whereas over 70% of those being trafficked are women and girls who experience high rates of physical and sexual violence, and internet enticements of our children are a significant point of grooming, and whereas the majority of its victims are already part of an at-risk population, and whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase human trafficking and internet crimes against children awareness, and continue to promote the social and emotional well-being of men, women, and children in safe, stable, nurturing environments, and whereas living with our eyes wide open to the reality of human trafficking and the internet crimes being committed against our children in the Caldwell community, knowledge remains our best defense. Now therefore, I, Jerem Wagner, Mayor of the City of Caldwell, Idaho, do hereby proclaim January 5th, 2023 as Caldwell Human Trafficking and Internet Crimes Against Children Awareness Day in the City of Caldwell, and urge all citizens to work together to eliminate the scourge of human trafficking in our community. And do we have anybody here? Or, oh, yes, so if you please, do you mind just stating your name and who you represent?
My name is Debbie Kraft. I'm the coordinator of the Canyon County Anti-Trafficking Task Force. And the task force operates under the auspices of Love Caldwell as our parent organization.
Very good, excellent. Are you from, are you from Boise or out here?
I am from Caldwell.
Oh, very good.
And we are very grateful to you, Mayor Wagner, for your support in signing this, for the City Council for endorsing it, with the help of the city clerk working with Love Caldwell to draft it, and it speaks so powerfully of why we have the passion we do to bring this effort forward and providing educational programs to the City of Caldwell that will enlighten and educate and train our citizens, particularly the adults responsible for our youth, to keep them safe from this predatory action.
Yeah, very good. Yes, it is something that if you ignore it, it will not go away. So
Absolutely not. We
Yep.
cannot bury our heads in the sand. And so we have, as the proclamation recognizes January 5th, we do have an event at the Flying M Thursday evening at 7 p.m. The open to the public, all are welcome, but it is first come, first served because it is a limited capacity. And we will be having a retired police detective as our guest speaker on the dangers of the internet and protecting children online. So it'll be a very informative evening. It is one of a number of educational programs we're going to roll out this year. Another one that we're looking at offering sometime in February is a parent workshop to any audiences that request the presentation. It will train parents how to keep their children safe.
very good, excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate that information, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on a matter that is not on the calendar before us this evening? Okay, very good. So that moves us. We do have the consent calendar. Do you want to do that, or do you want to do the amendment, or the amendment to the agenda? Just do the consent?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
consent.
Sounds good. So is there a motion for approval, adoption of the consent calendar?
So moved.
And do we have a second? We have a motion from Counselor Allgood and a second from Counselor Doty for approval of the consent calendar as printed. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alden,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dottie,
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Very good, so that passes unanimously. There is no old business before us tonight. So in regards to the new business, so I think let's go ahead and maybe do the amendment of new business item number 3.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Counselor Allgood.
I move that we move item number 3 under new business to the next regularly scheduled council meeting to be held on Tuesday, January 17, 2023.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Second.
So a motion from Counselor Allgood and a second from Counselor Doty, and that is to, move action item number 3 regarding the election of the city council president to the next city council meeting on the 17th. And the reason for that is, Council Register is unable to be with us this evening, and we would like to make sure that she's able to be here for that vote. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. That means that we can take advantage of Council President Allgood for 2 more weeks. So do what you can for that time before he's gone. Okay, so that moves us back up to new business action item number 1. So this is for our typical first meeting of the year, where we do the appointment presentations of the appointed officials. Let me get my. Okay. Very good. And so it's a little bit different tonight. There are some appointed officials that have been sworn in for more than 1 year, as we've gone through this past year, on that. And so, I'd emailed everyone last week, I hope that you received it, regarding getting into a kind of a 3-year rotation with our appointed officials. So rather than having to be, appointed every year, looking at doing that on a 3-year rotation. We've already kind of fallen into that just by the appointments we've made this year. And so there are a number of appointed officials that have already been, I guess, beyond this year. So that would be, one of those would be our city treasurer, Rochelle Castleberry, who's appointed through 2025. Our finance director, Raylan North, who will be sworn in tonight, but she has been appointed through 2024 already. Our human resources director, Shelley Boggy, sorry, I think I pronounced that wrong. Apologize. Who has also been appointed through 2024. Our planning and zoning director, Steve Foltz, also through 2024, and then our police chief, Mr. Rex Ingram, through 2026. So those have already taken place this year. And so it seemed like a good time to just kind of continue with that flow on that. And so the proposal is for, so the first one would be, so for 2024, there already are 3 people that have gone through that. And that, as I mentioned, is our finance director, Raylan North, our human resources director, Shelley Boggy, and our planning and zoning director, Steve Foltz. We don't need to worry about them. They're already in place. So the first proposal would be for appointment of the following individuals through 2025 for these positions. That would be Debbie Geyer as city clerk, Rob McDonald as city engineer. Said Rochelle's already been through 2025, so she would not need to be part of that. And then Brent Orton, our public works director, through 2025. So that would be, if we have a motion for the approval of those individuals for those appointments through 2025.
So moved.
And a second? Okay, so we have a motion from Counselor Stoddard and a second from Counselor Allgood for the approval of those appointments as noted. And did you have discussion on that? Or?
Our library director, is she?
So she is appointed through the board of the library board, not through the city council.
That one?
Yeah, but we definitely will recognize her tonight because she is an integral part. I wanted to make sure that she knew how much we still appreciate her in that regard. So she is appointed through the library board.
Okay, I was just trying to, it seems like we're missing somebody, but maybe
Yeah.
we're not.
Chief is good.
The what?
Fire chief is listed here.
Yeah, so that would be the next motion.
Okay.
So this would be just for through the one through 2025. So we have a motion from Counselor Stoddard and a second from Counselor Allgood. Do we need to do a roll call? Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote on that. Madam Clerk?
Dottie,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Alden,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Very good, so that motion passes. So we will do the next round. So this would be for appointment through 2026. As mentioned, the police chief, Mr. Ingram, has already been appointed through that time. So this would be for the appointment of their city attorney, the firm of Hamilton, Michelson and Hilty, our Economic Development Director, Steve Jenkins, and our Fire Chief, Mr. Rick Frawley. So do we have a motion for the appointment of those individuals to those offices through 2026?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion, but I just want, Mr. Jenkins to know I'm not going to be influenced by the fact that he brought his beautiful family here to try to influence us to vote yes. I will still be voting for him as well.
Very good.
So I will move that we approve those nominations.
Very good. And a second? So we have a motion from Counselor McGee and a second from Counselor Williams in regards to those appointments. And it sounds like the tiers, or the boys, you don't have to put those tiers on like your dad told you to, just to make sure. So, Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll on that.
McGee,
Yes.
Alden,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Dottie,
Yes.
Jody.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. So that motion passes as well. So we will do those swearing in, and we are going to do them individually, one at a time, where we don't have all of them do this year, which I like that, so we can kind of focus on each of those individuals. And before we do, again, do want to recognize, there are a number of people that aren't appointed by us, but still are directors in their departments. Lacey Forrest, our librarian, Jose Menchaca, our information technology director, and Julie McCoy, our Parks and Rec director. Do an amazing job, and appreciate them so very much, and grateful for them to be here this evening. I think all of them are here tonight, so we appreciate that and grateful for that. And also just, all of our appointed officials. We have several new ones this year, as you'll note, but I couldn't be more happy with the team that we have. I would put our team of appointed officials up against anybody in the state. They are just amazing individuals, and I feel that we're just in such a good place with everybody that we have. Just looking forward to a tremendous new year coming on. So couldn't be more pleased with each and every one of them, and the direction that they give and the examples they are for their departments, the way they conduct themselves, and excited to get to know some of these new ones. As I said, Raylene, literally we heard today is her first day. So just very excited for that. So with that, we will go forward and, are they right here? So I'll come down here and we'll call you up. And like I said, you're welcome. If you have family or friends, you're welcome to bring them up there with you if you like, or you can come solo, either way. So we'll start actually with Raylene. Okay, so if you'll just raise your hand, you don't have to. Okay, and then just repeat after me. I, Raylene North. I, Raylene North. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Idaho. The Constitution of the State of Idaho. And the laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. The laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. And that I will faithfully discharge. And I will faithfully discharge. The duties of Finance Director. The duties of Finance Director. Of the City of Caldwell. Of the City of Caldwell. Kane County, Idaho. Kane County, Idaho. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. During my continuance there. During my continuance there. Perfect. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Richard Frawley, Chief Frawley. We usually do this to the firefighters. Okay. I, Richard Frawley. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Idaho. The laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. That I will faithfully discharge. Duties of Fire Chief. Of the City of Caldwell, Kane County, Idaho. Best of my ability. During my continuance therein. Okay, Mr. Jenkins. The whole crew. I have 3 boys as well, but don't tell them this, I don't think they're quite as handsome as you. Very good, okay. I, Stephen Jenkins. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. City of Caldwell. Of the City of Caldwell. King County, Idaho. To the best of my ability. During my continuance therein. They would not be that well behaved either.
Debbie?
Mr. Rob McDonald. I don't recognize him.
Got a haircut, yeah, looking good.
I, Rob McDonald. I, Rob McDonald. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Idaho. Constitution of the State of Idaho. The laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. And the laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. That I will faithfully discharge. That I will faithfully discharge. The duties of city engineer. The duties of city engineer. Of the City of Caldwell, Candy County, Idaho. Of the City of Caldwell, Candy County, Idaho. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. During my continuance therein. Mr. Brent Orton. I, Brent Orton. I, Brent Orton. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Idaho. Constitution of the State of Idaho. And the laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. And the laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. That I will faithfully discharge. That I will faithfully discharge. The duties of Public Works Director. The duties of Public Works Director. City of Caldwell, Candy County, Idaho. City of Caldwell, Candy County, Idaho. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. During my continuance therein. During my continuance therein. Mr. Duffy. I, Mark Duffy. Do solemnly swear. I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Idaho. The laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. That I will faithfully discharge. He's a city attorney. For the City of Caldwell, Candy County. Best of my ability. During my continuance therein.
Oh, I'll take that too.
There's the proof. And. Glue that keeps us all together.
That is so true.
Star of our show.
I, Debbie Geyer.
I, Debbie Geyer.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Idaho. The laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell. That I will faithfully discharge.
And I will faithfully discharge.
Duties of city clerk. City of Caldwell, Candy County, Idaho.
Of the City of Caldwell.
Best of my ability. During my continuance therein. Very good. Thank you so much. And again, just to reiterate, how amazing every one of these individuals are, and they each play such an important role and such a distinct role, each one of them, and bring their talents and everything that they have to the city and to the citizens of this entire community. So thank you for what you do, and keep up the great work. We appreciate it and appreciate you very much. So that moves us, let's see, we did move the council president to the next one, so I believe that moves us to consideration of the finance report, if I'm not mistaken.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I move that accounts payable in the amount of $3,171,676.64, represented by check numbers 166751 through and payroll for the amount of $547,906.87, represented by check, numbers 38150 through 38175, and direct deposits be accepted, payments approved, vouchers filed in the city of the city clerk.
Do we have a second? Second. I guess we have a motion from Counselor, Williams and a second from Counselor Doty for acceptance of the finance report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. So we are to council reports. Counselor Stoddick.
Zero tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Counselor Doty.
I'm just happy that we have all of our appointed officials and they're off and running for 2023, and I'm excited, so let's go, right?
Yes, that's right. So, yes, I agree to that. Counselor Williams.
Ditto, thank you to all of you for what you do and all of the city staff. We appreciate you.
Good. Counselor Allgood.
Nothing for me tonight, thank you.
And Counselor McGee. Very good, excellent. So I just have just a few. Once we are finished here, we do invite you to, we have some cookies and drink to kind of celebrate and kind of mingle a little bit. So please join us for that, for immediately following this. And then also just to read off the city council liaison assignments for 2023. So I apologize, this got mailed out a little late today. I thought I had mailed it and I got back to the office and it was still sitting on my lap or on the computer top. So there are some changes in regards to that. There's some commissions and agencies that do require yearly changes. Audit and finance is one of those. We have to have 2 members, and one needs to be a new one every time, with one continuing on that. Airport commission as well, and some others. So we do have those changes. So Councilmember Doty's committee commissioner bond assignments for the year 2023 are to be continuing with the Caldwell Housing Authority Commission as well as the Urban Renewal Agency. Councilor Stoddick, the Caldwell Veterans Council, as well as sitting on the Valley Regional Transit Board. Councilmember Register, who's not here, but we'll definitely make sure to inform her of that, is for the Audit and Finance Committee, as well as the Youth Master Plan Committee. Councilmember Williams, Audit and Finance Committee, and the Airport Board of Commissioners. Councilmember Allgood continue on as an Urban Renewal Agency Commissioner, and Councilmember McGee, the Golf Board, as well as the Library Board of Trustees. So if there are, I know that there may be some conflicts, so discuss with me, and if it's not working out, we can look at if we need to make a change or not in that regards, but appreciate everyone's willingness to look at that and see if those work, and definitely we can work with you if it just, because I think it's important to remember that these are all part-time positions of these individuals up here, and so we want to make sure that we respect that, and so if there are some changes we do need to make, please let me know and we can work on that for sure. And just want to say this last year has been fantastic. A lot of people have asked me, do you regret it? And I do not one bit. I absolutely love it. And it's been a great year working with all of you, getting to know you better on this level. And I couldn't be more happy with all of you as well, and excited for at least one more year with all of you. Who knows what the next year will be, and what if you've all gotten smart enough to maybe move on, or I know at least one I think is going to. So, but just really want to say, and I do mean that I have come to appreciate each and every one of you and the great work that you all have been able to help us accomplish here at the city. It's been an exciting year, and there's so much more to come. So just wait and watch for 2023. It's going to be very exciting. And that is all for me. So again, we would invite you to join us for some punch and cookies after this. But with that, I would stand for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
In a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned.